Hey, welcome back to React, VFX Artist React. Today is James Bond Day. We're looking at the decades worth of history that goes into all the bonded James Bond films.
He just kicks him in the butt.
James Bond is a franchise that's covered pretty much every era of filmmaking, from like the 60s and 70s, pre-Star Wars, all the way to now, big budget modern blockbusters, doing all the tricks in the book.
You just hit their face with a leaf blower, you'll get that sort of like windy motion across their face.
If you want a sense of what filmmaking and cinema was like at a certain period of time, watching a James Bond movie from that era will give you a perfect example.
So we've looked at Die Another Day and the surfing sequence there before. We've also looked at the incredible visual effects in No Time to Die. And so this episode, we're looking at more of the untraditional sort of visual effects, the ones that you might not know about. All right, let's get into it.
Quantum of Solace. Okay, so as earlier we said, the James Bond movies are a perfect litmus test of cinema and blockbusters at that point in time. Quantum of Solace comes out, what, 2007, 2008? Hot off the tails of the terrible Bourne sequels, where it's just like, that's how you sum up the movie. And this movie obviously picked up on that editing style.
I mean, this is pretty sweet.
This is gonna get the energy up. Car chase, a Bond
cool
car
imagery.
chase.
I remember this part in the theater. I was psyched, like, this is gonna be rad. Let's go, James Bond.
Dude, this is sweet. Oh, wait.
Ooh.
Yeah, so how are you enjoying this action scene, boys?
It's getting a little nonsensical.
Do you hear my voice kind of sneaking in here at all?
It does edit very fast.
There's brief moments where it goes, and then it cuts back to a moment of stillness.
The cuts feel like they're feeling cuts. It's like I cut to a shot for 5 frames so you can feel it, which is cool at times and like can be a really useful tool in editing. But like I need to still have like landmarks. I still need to understand my visual beats of the story, and I'm losing a lot of that.
I thought that was cool.
Okay, that's fine. Just tell me, the next time you see a car fly off a cliff, tell me if you see an error.
Whoa.
Dude, that was cool.
Wait. That's the shot they had?
Yeah. I was like, uh-oh.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh
Sorry.
no.
What are you guys seeing?
I'm seeing a shot that pans down and gets gimbal locked and the car shoots off to the side and the guy just hits the wrong button on the joystick and the camera then rolls and instead of pans and...
Yeah. I'm seeing them setting up for a huge car stunt and then their camera rig is either not like adjusted or set up properly and the camera operator is struggling to get the joystick to move the camera in the direction of the car.
That's too bad.
I just noticed that one shot. For some reason, it stood out to me. It was screaming at me of like, oopsie. It's just sad.
What's that down there?
This sequence in Quantum of Solace involves some of the most over-the-top VFX to get, well, whoa. Sorry, hold on. The hyper edits are starting and we can't, like, it's messing with our language. Yeah, they're gonna jump out of that plane.
This plane that is low to the ground, by the way. Still, like, below the horizon.
Oh, wow, okay. Dude, they got the wind on their faces. Are they falling down the Mariana Trench?
They must be.
They're dead. I'm sorry, but they're dead.
They're dead. Wren, how do you think they filmed this?
So there's a couple options to do something like this, right? One, you get one of those indoor skydiving places that basically is a giant fan pointed upwards and it spins so fast and generates enough wind that you can actually like hover above it and then they just put blue or green behind everyone. What I think is more likely is that these actors are actually dangling from wires above just a big fan, or if you just hit their face with a leaf blower, you'll get that sort of like windy motion across their face, which in my opinion really sells this whole effect.
You had it right at the very beginning.
So it is all in a
wind tunnel.
A wind tunnel, really?
Yeah.
It's a wind tunnel.
Okay.
The amount of effort to do this scene right here is gargantuan.
Really? How so? Why?
Because they're in a wind tunnel, by the way. There's no outdoor lighting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like,
So they went into a wind tunnel and they set up like, I think it was like 6 or 8 cameras, all set to record uncompressed digital footage. So they use all these uncompressed cameras to retriangulate the meshes for the actors, building out 3D models to relight with sunlight so they can composite sunlight back onto the wind tunnel footage, which they also have to roto by hand, all so they can get this shot.
Yeah.
Which lasts, you know, these close-ups of the actors going blah, 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 blah. So much effort.
It's crazy how much effort it takes. You're right.
Here, I was thinking this would be an ideal thing to do just outside. Like, look at this. The perspective on Daniel Craig is pointed up at the sky. This could have been done 99% in camera and just painting out the wire rig.
Yeah, it's a VFX feat. I can't say anything else. It's incredible how they got it to work.
This is a nightmare of like, the director said he wanted to get it for real, so he filmed it for real, and now I have to make it all fake to make it look real. Why do we even do this in the first place?
Dang it! Feed keeps cutting out. Forget it. Welcome to MI6. Mission Control. You're probably wondering how we stay connected with all of our agents out in the field. Well, that's thanks to today's sponsor, Raycon. You see, spies are always dipping and diving and dodging, so they need earbuds that aren't going to slip out through all that physical activity. Spies also get dropped off miles behind enemy lines, which means our earbuds need to have a long enough battery life to make it through any mission. Most importantly, spies are masters of disguise and must blend into any environment. Luckily, Raycons come in a variety of different styles and colors, so they can go perfectly with any costume. If you want to join the secret agent life, go to buyraycon.com/corridorcrew for 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping. What's that? We have to get back to React? This message will self-destruct in 3, 2, 1. It's more of a Mission Impossible thing, not a James Bond thing.
You ever got the feeling somebody doesn't like you?
I want to show you a thrilling, intense, high-energy chase and fight scene from The Spy Who Loved Me, and we're going to compare it to one of the most chilling and thrilling chase scenes of all time, which is in Casino Royale. So a little A-B here for you guys to see how much it has evolved over the years.
No!
Oh, dang.
He doesn't care.
Dude, he was literally just like,
Dude, this sound design. No music. All right, compared to...
oh, this is my favorite scene from the movie. I love it. I love it. I used to be able to do that. I'm getting like classic Star Trek vibes when they're fighting out in the desert. Dude.
It's like, heck yeah.
Pretty sweet.
So good.
That's pretty sweet.
God.
He just kicks him in the butt.
So like
Yeah,
Sam
that's
said,
funny.
it's a really good litmus test for the state of cinema. And that's where cinema was in 1977. It's like no wonder Star Wars was a banger when it came out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this fight sequence from Casino Royale is arguably one of the best fight sequences in any action movie.
Yeah.
Casino Royale, great film. Kind of set the record straight again with the Bond movies. But it's not the first time they had to do that. And the first time was with a Bond movie called The Living Daylights.
Hey, he's got a parachute.
This is how the movie kicks off here. This is the first scene of the movie.
Wow, that's actually a really intense stunt.
Everything, you're watching this and you're like, oh, this just feels like a sweet, real action scene, you know?
Oh,
Like,
there's some of that classic.
they do sneak in a few real projection shots. Everything up to that point is mostly real. In fact, they have Timothy Dalton on the actual Jeep for a ton of those shots.
As it's like whipping by the camera,
yeah,
the
this
tiny road, it can fall off.
Not the wides, but you'll notice all the shots with like the wind and the hair really going. He's doing them for real. Like, yeah,
I mean, that's pretty sick.
And this is like the first shoot they do for the film too. So he hops on the set, he's like, I'm doing my stunts.
Oh damn, they're airborne.
Good thing he brought his parachute.
Oh.
Dude, what if your shoelace got caught?
Heck yeah. What a cool shot. Wow, that feet shot.
What a feat.
I wish they had a wide shot of the explosion, because all the shots cut pretty well together there. Basically, this whole film it doesn't have a lot of VFX necessarily in it, but the part where it flies off the cliff, what you see is like a lot of really great practical stunts with really good miniature work.
I love that foot shot of the car falling away.
All dolls.
Dolls?
That's crazy. Looks great.
There's one thing though that we should talk about in this film, and it's a sequence that rivals some of the craziest stuff that Tom Cruise has ever done.
Really?
And they do it in this film.
This is just a scene from Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying, there's a lot of similarities.
Hey, that background comp is pretty good though.
Whoa.
Whoa, hold on, that's sick.
That's so sketchy.
That's so cool. Getting this stuff for real
What?
is like so much more captivating.
What? Oh my God. That just looks
That's
real.
so cool.
So yeah, it's super dangerous.
Yeah.
This is insanely dangerous stuff. Granted, there are safety lines and stuff going on here.
Well, sure, but like, what if like the plane does something, the whole thing just smacks up to the underside of the plane?
So that is a real problem, which happened.
What? It happened?
So, they have it open up and spill all these packages for real. And what that does is that significantly cuts the weight of it. So the moment that happens, it goes crazy. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
Look at that. And
Whoa.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Oh, no.
Crazy.
And so I feel like these shots of him getting flipped back in there are motivated from like the actual challenge of filming it in the first place.
So a shot like that though, that looks very good. How did they do that background?
That's a backdrop.
That's just a backdrop,
Just straight
man.
up a backdrop, not rear projection. It's just like a giant screen with like a painting on it.
Looks like it.
Just a giant matte painting in the back.
Yeah.
Hence why it like moves with the camera movement.
I think the sequence works really well is because they are intercutting some like backdrop shots with practically filmed ones of the similar angle. So, you're like looking down and seeing the ground and it's the actor. But then they'll also then cut into the stunt guy who is doing it for real. So it's that great cumulative effect where you cut back to a shot, but it's a different technique used to capture it. And I feel like that always works so well when you're trying to construct a believable sequence like this. So that way, when you cut to a shot and expect it to be done one way, it tricks you and it's done another way.
Do you remember the magic Disney crystal that they used for Mary Poppins? It was better than green screen before green screen even existed, and then it was lost to time. Not anymore. For the first time in over 3 decades, the process has been recreated right here in our studio. Check it out on this channel tomorrow.
I do kind of want to look at the invisible car from Die Another Day.
Your new transportation.
It's just a platform, nothing's on it.
The ultimate in British engineering.
Whoa.
What is this moment?
Obviously, it's not invisible.
What are they doing here?
What are they doing and why? What are they doing? Because the background looks normal. So why are just his legs getting huge?
It's obviously because he's right next to the car.
Bond, look at this new car. Yes, it's so invisible you can't see it until I walk behind it.
This is so janky.
Makes my
right
legs
there.
very large.
It's like, let's just use the tail end of the shot. It's like, okay, this is even more visually confusing now.
But it was actually kind of based on real technology. It's the idea of like the actual outer coating of the whole car is covered in like LED panels with cameras on the other side that are projecting that viewpoint onto the other side. But that kind of only really works from a very long, far away point of view and not for like complex surfaces like a car.
So this car's made out of ones and zeros. Yes, I'm expecting a little more firepower.
Do you guys want to see the very first ever motion tracked matte painting? It might not be, but I think it's the earliest version I could find. So this is from The Spy Who Loved Me from 1977. The bad guy has this water base, and it comes up from water. It's in the ocean, and is where he conducts all his evil plans. Here we go.
Oh.
Cool, huh?
Yeah.
So this is 1977. I think it's important to note that at the time, motion-controlled camera shots were being pretty much invented by Star Wars at the same time as this, so they probably didn't have great tech.
No, they didn't have any tech. This is rudimentary, cutting something out on like a laminated sheet and like tracking it by hand over the footage.
So this is hand-tracked?
This is hand-tracked.
And by hand-tracked, we mean like, literally like,
Two
here's the
pieces.
film, here's the next piece of film, I'm gonna line it up.
Yeah.
While also looking at a sky with 0 tracking markers or any sort of tracking reference at all.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like the hardest thing to track. The biggest thing that's kind of making this shot look weird is the lack of motion blur. But, you know, 1977, manually tracking something like this, you're not gonna get motion blur. That's gonna be just a technological roadblock. You couldn't do something like that.
Yeah, it would have to literally be moving when the film is being exposed to get motion blur.
You know what? For manually tracking something, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's actually not too bad.
I
And
agree.
the miniature work, fantastic. That's a sweet looking structure. It looks big.
And it looks real.
It's weird to think that these shots just didn't exist back then. You couldn't have a moving shot like this with an element added to it. Just couldn't exist. Boom, there it is, right in front of your eyes. Roger Moore looks unimpressed.
I know. He's like, you're gonna do what when you pan over? And it's like, don't worry, the term for this hasn't even been invented.
Now, for the pièce de résistance. For this movie, they built the biggest movie soundstage on the planet at Pinewood Studios in England because they needed a soundstage that could represent the inside of a supertanker so big that it could swallow up nuclear submarines. And they're like, how are we gonna light this thing? We're seeing the ceiling, where are we gonna put the lights? And they're like, just light it like you would if this was an actual space. They're running 10,000 amps of electricity through that space. Because lights are not efficient back then. To have bright lights, you just gotta burn the electricity. So everything's coated with metal, so it's reflective and bright. They have water trenches. I think it's over 1 million gallons of water in there.
But what about those submarines? Are they like half submarines?
Yeah, they're half submarines. And some good old classic gunfights, which is like, once again, I can see where all the gunfights in like GoldenEye 64 are inspired from.
The acting is a little over the top.
Electricity bullets. There's also the goofiest grenade throw in this sequence. It's this one. That was like the cameo from the director or something like that.
Wait, really?
I don't know. It's just like such a weird shot.
He also like doesn't throw it. Like he doesn't like throw it the way he's like looking over here. He's like,
Well, he's dropping it from a high distance
I know,
down.
but
he throws it the other way.
Who drops like this? Why not like that? Or, you know, it's just such a non-threatening way to throw a grenade at somebody.
I don't know. He's just clearly not throwing it where he's looking.
Yeah. So yeah, nothing too crazy here, just some goofs.
It's just some goofs.
So it's funny because that movie ends and it says James Bond will return in a list of movie. And then the next movie they released was not that movie. Because in the same year as this movie, Star Wars came out, and the producers were like, everybody loves sci-fi. Sci-fi's having a resurgence. And they're like, let's go back to making sci-fi films. And so they made Moonraker, which is also an actual book with James Bond in it. So how are you gonna film in space when there's no gravity?
I don't know. Ask the people who did the moon landing.
Well, you wanna see what it looks like when there's a bunch of people pretending to be in zero gravity?
Oh, okay.
5, 4, 3.
Whoa!
They're just.
Whoa!
They're
Wait!
Zero G's.
No more gravity.
It stopped rotating.
Wow.
That's not bad.
This is really good.
Until it comes to this dude just walking.
Yeah, no, see, this is the problem, because, like, they only learned zero gravity, like a decade before this, right?
Wait, so are they shooting this in slow motion? Like, that shot looks
Yeah.
slow-mo.
There's a person doing a handstand in the corner. Do you see them? They're on their hands upside down. That's great. There's a lot of wires going on there, though.
It's a lot of wires. And this guy, the main villain, just like slowly walking. It's like everybody was taught that there's no gravity, you're in slow motion, so they're all acting like they're in slow motion, even though they're not.
Oh, boy. You guys want to hear a really funny story about Daniel Craig on Skyfall?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, first off, let's just watch this sequence here. And I want you to look for anything funny looking or out of the ordinary.
Him.
I guarantee you guys are not gonna get this.
The briefcase. Oh, it's this thing. No way. Yeah, of course it is.
I like how he's like, wait, that's a Komodo dragon, what the heck? So, yeah, then the bad guy takes James Bond's gun, but he can't use it because it's got a fingerprint reader on it that only works with James Bond's fingerprint. Then the CG Komodo dragon pulls him off screen.
Classic. Wait, what was funny? You said something funny was gonna happen here.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it right now.
Wait, is this when Daniel Craig lost his 2 front teeth?
Wait, that happened?
Yeah, he got his front teeth knocked out filming James Bond.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay. No, that's not what's going on here, as far as I know.
Wait a second. I know what you're talking about, but I'm looking at it and I don't see anything.
Same. I couldn't find any information to like corroborate this story, so this is all speculation, but it goes that Daniel Craig on his off day went shopping and found a really nice pair of gloves that he liked a lot. And he asked the director, Sam Mendes, if he could wear the gloves for this sequence. And Sam Mendes kind of didn't care. He's like, yeah, whatever, go for it. And so he wore the gloves for this entire fight sequence. And then they got to the edits and they realized, wait, so the logic here is that his gun only works with the fingerprint, so how would he use his gun if he had these gloves on? And they did the math on trying to figure out how much it would cost to actually reshoot this entire scene. It was gonna be like millions of dollars. And so they're like, all right, CG hands. Now, this is where the part of the story that doesn't make any sense to me, because the guy who's telling the story says that you can see it, his hands are like pudgy and thick because they had to paint over the gloves, and so what you're seeing are actually like skin-colored gloves, and that's where I disagree with the story, because that's not how the visual effects would be done in this situation, and his hands don't look big.
All right, so we're trying to decide if these are fake hands.
Yeah, so what we're actually doing right now is trying to debunk whether or not these hands were actual gloved hands or were just hands the whole time.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to pudgy, big hands, because you're painting around the gloves, that is actually a kind of a naive view on visual effects.
Exactly, because what would you have to do?
You would actually completely paint out the hands/gloves in the first place and fully replace them. So the original size of them is not going to determine how big your replacements are.
I'm not seeing any indication that these are CG hands. I'm seeing a lot of really accurate motion blur, really accurate lighting, really accurate tracking.
Apparently it's mostly once they're down with the Komodo dragon, so it's probably not this sequence, it might be down below. So that shot, does his hand look weird there?
No, it doesn't. And the shadow falling on the thumb there is totally normal. I'm gonna say that this is bunk because in reality, a professional actor probably wouldn't just on a whim wear a costume like gloves on set, especially during a fight scene. You're punching people, you're grabbing stuff. Like, you don't want gloves on when you're doing those things just as a performer. Because also, when you do a long shoot, like a big full shoot like this, the costume designer sits down and does a continuity progression of costume over the entire production. Like, does this happen a day later? Does this happen an hour later? Does this happen a week later? And that happens for every single scene. All this stuff is tracked super closely.
So it would be very doable. It's just not that believable of a story, despite it being a good story.
So hey guys, we've been doing a lot of themed episodes this year, and it's a fun way to get kind of a little deeper in some of these film series. Let us know if there's anything else we should take a look at, because, well, they're fun to do.
Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week.